You're standing in a world made of one material: wood. Everything you own, everything you touch, everything you build, all of it comes from something that was once alive. A tree, a plant, an animal, and that's your entire toolbox. If you want a comb, you carve it from a turtle's shell. If you want a knife handle, you shave it from an elephant's tusk. If you want a button, you cut it from bone. And here's the problem nobody's said out loud. Yet, you're running out, because everything useful comes from something that has to be killed or chopped down, and the world only has so much of it. The elephants are disappearing. The good timber is getting harder to find. Every beautiful object you own is basically a countdown timer on some living thing that had to die to make it. You just haven't noticed the trap yet. But you're about to. It starts with something ridiculous. Billiard balls. The fancy people love their billiards, and the balls are carved from ivory, from elephant tusks, and each tusk makes only a handful of decent balls. So the game is quietly eating elephants alive. And one day, someone offers a huge pile of money to anyone who can invent a substitute. A fake ivory. Something that behaves like a tusk, but doesn't come from one. And that reward lodges in your brain like a splinter. What if you didn't have to kill anything to make a hard, smooth, beautiful object? What if you could just make the material itself? So you start mixing things, because you have no idea what you're doing. And mixing things is all you've got. You take plant fibers, cotton, wood pulp, the stringy stuff nature is full of, and you start soaking them, treating them, mashing them into strange pastes. You fail. Again. And again. Hundreds of mixtures, and nothing behaves. But every so often something goes stiff, or shiny, or moldable, and you lean in a little closer. And then one batch does something no natural material has ever done for you. It gets soft when you heat it. Soft enough to press into any shape you want. And then it cools, and it holds that shape, hard and permanent. You can make it a comb, a ball, a handle, a box, anything. The same lump of stuff can become 1,000 different objects just by heating it and pushing it into a mold. Nature never gave you that. Wood is wood. Bone is bone. But this thing is whatever you tell it to be. Do you understand what you're holding? For the first time in history, you've made a material that didn't grow. That wasn't alive. That no animal had to die for. You cooked it out of plants and chemistry, and it does the job of ivory, horn, shell, and bone all at once. You've cheated. You've stepped outside of nature's supply chain entirely. But this early version has one terrifying flaw. It catches fire. A little too easily. Some of these first attempts are so unstable, they'll burst into flame or even pop like a firecracker if you look at them wrong. You solved the elephant problem and accidentally invented a comb that might explode in your pocket. So you're not done. Not even close. And this is where it gets strange, because someone eventually decides to stop borrowing from plants altogether. Instead of starting with cotton or wood, they start with the black sludge nobody wanted. The gunk left over when you refine oil and coal. The waste. The stuff you'd normally throw away. And they ask the most dangerous question of the whole story. What if we built the material from nothing but chemistry? Not a plant treated to act differently. A brand new substance, assembled from the ground up, out of molecules that never existed in that arrangement anywhere in nature. And when it works like a miracle. This new stuff is completely synthetic. It won't rot. It won't rust. It shrugs off water, acid, and electricity. You can pour it into any mold, dye it any color, and it comes out hard and permanent and cheap. That word is the one that changes the world. Cheap. Because now you're not carving one comb from one shell. You're stamping out 10,000 identical combs an hour, each one costing almost nothing, each one perfect. The luxury objects that used to belong only to the rich, the smooth handles and shiny buttons and polished trinkets, suddenly everyone can have them. You've taken things that used to require a dead elephant and made them cost less than lunch. And humans, as always, completely lose their minds with a good thing. Once you can make a material that's whatever you want it to be, you make everything out of it. Cups, chairs, toys, radios, telephones, wrapping, wire coating, car parts, toothbrush bristles. You wrap your food in it, you build your gadgets with it, you dress in it, you sit on it, you throw it away and grab more. In a single lifetime, you go from a world made of wood and bone to a world where you can barely find a single object that doesn't have your invention hidden somewhere inside it. You've drowned the entire planet in a substance that didn't exist a moment ago. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. The very thing that made it perfect turns out to be the curse. It doesn't rot. Remember? That was the whole point. It won't break down. It won't decay. It laughs at time. Which felt like a gift when you wanted a comb that lasts forever. But now every cup, every wrapper, every broken toy you ever tossed aside is still out there, sitting in the ground, floating in the sea, refusing to disappear, exactly as stubborn as the day you made it. You wanted something that would never die, and you got it. You just didn't think about what that means when you've made a mountain of it. So take a step back and look at the absurd path you walked. You started as someone panicking about running out of elephants, chopping down forests and skinning animals just to make a decent button. And through nothing but a cash prize, a pile of failed pastes, and one terrifyingly clever question after another, you clawed your way to a material that can become anything, costs almost nothing, and outlasts you, your children, and possibly your entire civilization. Every bottle, every bag, every phone case, every keyboard, every cheap toy your kid loses under the couch. All of it traces straight back to this, to someone staring at a dying elephant and a billiard ball and thinking, there has to be another way. No blueprint, no warning label, no idea what they were unleashing. Just a brilliant, desperate, slightly reckless idea that solved one problem and handed you 1,000 new ones. So here's the last thing worth sitting with. Somewhere on Earth right now, there's a plastic fork made before your grandparents were born. It's still out there, still holding the exact shape someone pressed it into. And it may well outlive your great-grandchildren, perfectly, stubbornly refusing to become anything else. All because one inventor wanted to save the elephants. Not bad for a species that just wanted to stop killing them for billiard balls.